Slayers up against Incredible Miracle, and then that is Cloud King. At the top right starts the Slayers player. The team has 1 point so far, LGIM has 3. This guy really has to beat 1 or 2 players if they want to have a chance to win this team battle. He is
Slayers Genius!
A self-proclaimed genius.
the hopes of Slayers rest on the shoulders of this guy, the runner-up in GSL Season 1.
And the BlizzCon champion, the first time StarCraft 2 was played at BlizzCon.
The bottom left we have his opponent. Very strong Protoss player for LGIM. Already 3 players that he was able to take out. This is the game where he faces the 4th.
LGIM Yonghua!
This is going to be such a cool map to watch these players unfold on. Blinkstalker Aggression, such a great build to do on this map. It's not the best map in the world for it, but it's, I think, the best map of the maps that were left. And this may be something that Yonghua is thinking about right now. I'm like, alright, you picked this map, probably for a reason. I'm going to play safe here. What awesome fan art there of Nestea, of course.
That was a really nice drawing.
I actually wish he didn't turn around. I wanted to look at it more.
Well, be it as it may, this time we don't have Nestea yet. Might seem later.
If Yonghua can be defeated, they might be able to pull him out. And right now I think that the possibility for all sorts of builds is here, despite the fact that we talked about Blinkstalkers being the most prominent here. See a slightly later second gas for Yonghua. And what will Genius choose? You know, he's going to want to do a build that is safe, most likely, rather than one that is risky. A Blinkstalker pressure build is pretty safe. There are a few holes. For example, if someone goes for DTs against you, you might lose, but that's a small chance. He is getting his second gateway, which indicates he wants to be aggressive on the ground with his first 2 Stalkers.
This matchup is one where Yonghua is a little bit weaker than the rest of his matchups, but still definitely not a pushover. In the GSGL match against Fnatic, he was able to win against Oz. At IEM, he took down Naniwa with a 2-0. So Yonghua definitely has a few wins in this matchup in the recent past, but on the other hand, he also suffered a few losses, one of them to Real. So this is definitely a matchup where you can defeat Yonghua a lot easier than sending out another Zerg player to deal with him. We've seen in the recent matches today and in the last few weeks that he's really strong in the PvZ. But right now, the Slayers Protoss is opening things up with Double Stalker immediately, whereas we just now have the additional gateways for Yonghua.
Yeah, and he's going up to 3 gateways, in fact, with no tech. So he's just being very aggressive here. This is something that's
started his tech right now with a Templar.
Yeah, he's getting that out there, and he's got to be careful with the Zealot. He's going to lose it basically no matter what until his Stalker gets there.
Both of them starting with, heading straight for the Twilight Council here. And the robotics now coming out for Yonghua, therefore we will see Blink out of him.
Yeah, he's going to be going for this Blink Expand. That's why he got his Twilight Council so late. Genius's Twilight Council is also late, but he doesn't have a Robo, so...
There it is.
Okay, there it is. So they're both doing basically the same build, just a little bit different timings.
Genius is just running out his ramp right now, trying to protect against these units that were chasing him down. 2 Stalkers and 1 Zealot. Yonghua already has one of his forward pilots in position so that he can warp in units. Of course, the upgrade has been started for both of them. Blink is coming up. Additional gateways being added for Genius now.
Yeah, he basically added his gateways a little bit later as well as his Robo. And he's slightly ahead in probes as a result. He's got 28 probes to 25, so a little trade-off there. His Observer being late is actually possibly going to help him because it may be that he is able to catch his opponent's Observer just kind of by chance as a result. It just depends.
I love Blink battles. It's always so nice to see this type of game because there's a lot that comes down to micro and how well players control their units. And on this map in particular, also important is, are you able to snipe your opponent's observer if you are the defending player? Because as soon as the observer is gone, you just have not that much options to attack. You can't blink up on the high ground, get into the mineral line, for example. So you have to wait for another observer, and this is always a bit of a nuisance. All these forwards pylons for Yonghwa now in position, and Blink is about to finish. His observer is also in position, both of them actually moving out, and now the observers see each other, and he's trying to kill it.
He will get it, I think.
Yes.
This is exactly what I was talking about. It's just kind of coincidentally better for Genius there that his observer comes late because he just happens to see his opponent. Whereas in that way, it's just a coincidence, but it works out.
Yeah, Yonghwa immediately retreats. He knows that he has not really the options of being aggressive here, so Genius is now on the offensive.
Genius is really taking a big chance trying to get up here, and he does. The probe is so important, and he loses it. He's got to blink back, but his opponent also has blink. A great pick off there, is able to get one Stalker, and he may be able to get another one if he decides to go for it.
The sentry.
Nice block here. No observer means no blink there. Does finally get up, and he picks off the sentry. This is such a funny battle that we're seeing here because now Yonghwa's on the retreat.
Blink, where's his Blink? It's not ready. He loses a lot of Stalkers. Here comes the Blink for Yonghwa, and immediately Genius retreats with his Stalkers, trying to run back. The Stalker count is now in favor of Genius, who is also the lead in Harvesters.
Yeah, he cannot actually fight up against this Concave. He's got some Zealots, but Zealots are not useful when your opponent has a Stalker-heavy army. The Zealots hardly ever going to be able to connect against a Blink Stalker army because Stalkers not only are very fast units, but when they have that Blink upgrade, it's just virtually impossible.
And Genius is also preparing to build an expansion right now. If he realizes that he can't be aggressive here, he is definitely the player with a better mineral income. So if he can defend against Yonghwa, he might will be the first one to actually expand behind it.
Yeah, I think he certainly will attempt to. Oh, this is not a comfortable position for Yonghwa. He knows he may lose a Zealot here. He's actually going to lose his probe for sure. Zealot actually taking the damage here for Yonghwa. This is exactly what he needs. That's why he's got those Zealots here.
But nice Blink action by Genius so far. The Stalker count is in favor of Genius. He's really trying his hardest. Now the Zealot is at the front as well.
The Zealot's really helping out Yonghwa here, and some of the Stalkers actually for Genius not able to fire. Yonghwa's micro actually does a little bit better than his. His Stalkers have more hit points. He's actually probably going to take this fight. He blinks forward. Some of the Stalkers blink on the high ground. The Observer is here though. Will he follow up? Will he blink in the main?
So many Stalkers right now for Yonghwa. He takes down those two pylons. This is really bad for Genius. He had a much better Stalker count, but he could not really make it work in the fight itself. Now suddenly we have Yonghwa in the lead with 13 against 9 Stalkers.
Oh, and he's going to supply block him here with this pylon being destroyed. Not only that, but he unpowers the gateway.
That is horrible, of course, for Genius. Suddenly he has one less gateway that he can produce from. He's losing a couple of warp-in rounds, and now we still have this Observer in position for Yonghwa. He's trying to get another shot at those structures, and of course, every single time that Genius is trying to get into position, Yonghwa is there with his Stalkers, and the Stalker count is so much better right now. He can actually blink onto the high ground if he wants to in the game.
If he wants to, yeah. And he actually will likely just pick off this Robotics and go back home. The way that the Robotics is placed, it's impossible for Genius to get the better Concave and defend his Robo. And Yonghwa knows that, so he's just going to slowly but steadily take it out here. If Genius decides to fight, he loses Stalkers. If he doesn't fight, he loses his Robo.
Nice.
Beautiful micro. Oh my
really
god.
Well done. Genius, on the other hand, with some excellent micro on his own, but it's such a tough position for him to be in.
The Stalkers get caught in the center. He loses another one, and he's still going to lose his Robo. One more shot and it's gone. Boom. Now he can just go home. He doesn't even have to stay here. But he's just like you said earlier, he's got the better Stalker count. He can just blink up at this point. Another pylon for Genius goes down.
His Stalker count is crazy. 22 against 16. He's slowly and steadily walking up. He could blink up if he wants to. Takes down the Zealot. Tries to take down the Warp Gate as well. He knows where his opponent is positioned. He still has the high ground vision with his one Observer. A great position for Yonghwa.
This is actually just looking worse and worse for Genius all the time. He's making 2 pylons right now. The Concave is better for him slightly for a moment, but Yonghwa is actually fanning out a little bit here. He's just got so many warp-ins to use.
The next round of warp-in just hit 20 against 16 Stalkers as we speak.
He blinks
up. He wants to engage. He's trying to take this game, moving up the ramp. Good Concave at the same time for Genius, and he forces Yonghwa back.
Yeah.
Takes the lead into the Stalker count, actually.
Yeah, he does, and I think that may have been a mistake to blink up like that because he had to fight in unfavorable terrain for a little bit. Now he's moving back. His Stalkers have much more hit points than Genius' Stalkers though, and that's really important. Even though both players have blink and there are a lot of shields, those low hit point Stalkers will actually die much faster in a fight.
From our position, it looked a little bit better. The better option would have been to blink to the left of the main base, where there is a lot of space.
Yeah.
But he blinked into a concave of his opponent with being stuck at the ramp, just made sure that not all of his stalkers could fire. So if he tries to go a bit more to the left and blinks up on the high ground, he has the opportunity to fan out before Genius is really in position to engage. But now we have the same stalker count and still more probes for Genius.
And Genius is doing exactly what he needs to do. He knows there are pylons out there, and this is one thing he can basically get away with killing no matter what. The Observer is gone for Genius. He's lost his Robo. And I'm a little bit surprised Younghwa has not just decided to make one Immortal and then start a Nexus and try to defend at the choke point at the base. Oh, loses another Stalker. Genius did. Younghwa is just, he's not content to expand. He feels like that's too much of a risk, so he's just aggressively continuing to produce Stalkers, using the fact that he has an Observer to see, okay, Genius, are you making another base? Are you making your Robo? No? Okay, so I'm actually just going to keep making Stalkers because the only way I can lose is if you kill me while I'm trying to take a Nexus, so I just won't do that.
Yeah, at this point, no one is thinking about getting another base. We still have a pylon to the top of the map for Younghwa, one that Genius missed, and now we have a reverse situation with Genius being the one to apply pressure.
He's got to get this concave fanned out here. No Observer for Genius means no blink ups, and it means no pick offs of structures. That's why he can afford to do things like make this pylon on the side here. And at some point, both players are going to have to start mining from their naturals, whether it's long distance or not, because they're going to mine out of their mains. The mineral patch is already getting down to about 200 patches left. Genius is actually going to mine out first because he has more probes.
And of course, Genius is now also getting this robotics. He wants to get a few additional observers into the game. When he doesn't have an observer, he can't be too aggressive. He can try to put pressure onto Younghwa and have a look if he has an expansion, but that's all that he can do. It's not like he has high ground vision that he can abuse to blink onto the high ground to attack the main base. Therefore, he has to play it a little bit safer. But as mentioned before, Younghwa not only with a good Stalker count, still chasing down pylons, but he still has this one pylon at the top of the map.
He's got this over here, which will see the Nexus timing for Genius. Genius waiting a long time, a lot of hesitation here. I think he was considering waiting until he kills his opponent's Observer to make the Nexus so that it wouldn't be known. Now the Nexus has been seen, he's actually has to attack. He starts his own Nexus as well. He's just going to continue to put the pressure on. He doesn't need to commit, but he has to be aggressive here, or Genius will actually be able to utilize that Nexus a little bit faster than him.
The Stalker count is fairly even. We currently have a slight lead for Younghwa, 28 to 27.
He's got the Guardian Shield available as well with the Sentry.
Yeah, Younghwa, exactly. Younghwa has the Sentry for the Guardian Shield. That is helping a lot in a fight like this.
Yeah. It'll basically just make it so every shot does a little bit less damage. And that can be multiplied, 27 times when your opponent has 27 Stalkers shooting into that Guardian Shield.
If you don't pick off the Sentry immediately, your opponent has a huge advantage.
Oh, this is so tense. He actually could decide to blink into the main, but this is a risky choice.
Does he go for the Guardian Shield, though? Does he go and attack? I think he could take it here if he uses it. And
Guardian Shield is up, and Genius hesitating a little bit. A few extra shots go up. Genius has a much better concave, though, and it's not going to be enough. And when the blink, he cannot protect the Sentry. The Sentry looks like it will go down. It'll fall.
Yeah, that is one to a Sentry. Being warped in for the job, uses the Guardian Shield, does everything right, and then all the Stalkers abandon it.
Yeah.
I feel for the Sentry.
That was a great choice to make, though. Actually, trying to take that fight with Genius having that kind of concave, even with the Guardian Shield effect, was just not going to be the right choice.
It was just a position. He tried to go in and poke, but then Genius played it well, retreated into the position where he could just fan out, and then, Younghwa realized, okay, if I attack in there, even with the Guardian Shield, I will be in an awkward spot. I can't really use all of my Stalkers. My opponent has the better position, so rather not take the risk, fall back, and now both of them, with the 2-base economy that they have, well, basically it's a 1-base economy still, we have now the first few Immortals being built in the game.
This is a tense game because, you talked about this is one of the most exciting types of PvP because there's so much blink action. There's 2 players in mobile armies. This game will likely be decided by who gets the better engagement, but oftentimes that is decided by who has the better vision. If you don't know where your opponent is approaching you from, you can't always get the better concave, you can't always fan your units out appropriately, and the big next step and the relationship between Younghwa and Genius is the robotic support band. They're both actually going for it around the same time. Younghwa with a slightly faster robo, but they're with the defender's advantage and with the map size here, that's not going to be too important. This game is going down a path where neither player feels comfortable to attack each other, so they're just going to continue to tech.
This is a game on a razor's edge for sure. At this point, we have an army supply of 75 to 77. Younghwa has the better drone count, the better probe count, 37 to 28. He has a huge lead in this regard, but the count of Stalkers is 30 to 29, 2 to 2 Immortals. The Sentries as well.
Yeah, and the bank is a little bit better for Younghwa as well, so he's going to be able to make these Colossi. He's going to be able to get range faster, for example. He's had his gases up a little bit longer than Genius did. And he's got the Observer on the main, so you will see his opponent's robotics timing.
After this very aggressive mid-game, we now have both of them just relaxing a little bit, just trying to take it easy, trying to go for the Colossi. Both of them are happy to do so. And range has been started for both of them, for Younghwa and Genius. Well, the first Colossi are now being built. A third base so far, not an option for either one of them.
I bet what Younghwa is thinking about right now.
There it is, the third for Younghwa.
Exactly. You know, he's thinking, do I want to take this third right now? Another thing he's probably thinking about is, will he actually get this Observer? It's going to be close. I don't think he can get it.
No, not really.
Not quite. But, it's probably thinking, I wish I didn't blink up like that earlier. I basically had this game won. I had Genius on the ropes. I took out his Robo. I could have just made a Nexus at home and defended. I could have just stayed at the bottom of his ramp, made sure he couldn't blink out. Yeah, I decided to go for the kill, and now the game goes on.
Or not blinking up the ramp, but actually using the high ground vision to blink up more to the mineral line.
Yeah. A lot of different options for him. These Stalkers for Genius are way ahead of themselves.
He blinks forward. He has to be careful with a move like that.
Yeah, this is a situation where one bad blink can be. Yeah, that was a nice trap there. One bad blink can end the game.
The expansion is up, and he goes for a Guardian. For a Dark Templar.
Yeah, it gets that Dark Shrine up there. That's a really cool choice because this is going to be great for harassment. Oftentimes in a situation like this, if someone warps in 4 DTs, just goes right for the Nexus. The Nexus can't hold. He's not going to have the server in position. He doesn't have cannons up.
Suddenly, Younghwa can actually utilize those additional probes that he has.
Yeah. Oh, he's in hold position here. He loses a Stalker. Genius' Stalkers, remember, are on low hit points. He's got a great position. He's even approaching up the ramp right now. The Zealot's taking the damage.
Yeah, 2 Colossi currently for Younghwa. Genius is moving in. His second Colossus just arrived at the scene of crime. And those 2 Immortals also do a lot of damage.
The Immortal targeting for Younghwa was not very good, but it just has enough. The late Colossus for Genius really hurt him here.
Yeah, exactly. It did. Those Colossi are so important in these fights, and they are still going strong. The defender's advantage as well, and suddenly Genius is down in supply. The Stalkers blink in, take down the Colossus, and Younghwa is nearly doubling the supply of Genius, and his Dark Shrine is about to finish.
Yep, he sends his probes back. His Dark Shrine is done. He's got a forward pylon. He can use that with GG. Genius is out of luck. No expansion, no army, no chance. Younghwa is on a roll, man. This reminds me of
he's on a roll.
You know, Symbol last season was on a similar roll with his great performance, getting the reverse all kill against LGIM, and
look at Genius here. Wow.
Genius he's flabbergasted.
In Younghwa, 4 players, 4 kills. He is facing the last man standing for Slayers now. It has to be Rian. Just has to be.
What an insane streak he's on right now. Imagine how Slayers must be feeling being the runners-up of GSL, losing to an all-kill, and then game number 1, let's start again season number 2, or season number 3 I guess in this case, but of course the first season after the finals, they may find themselves all-killed again.
Dark opened up against MC with a win. Everything looked great for Slayers. They were able to take down one of the heavy hitters of LGIM, and now they are suddenly looking at a situation where they are down 3 games already, where the last man has to step up and take responsibility. But the problem is, there are so many players on this bench, but it doesn't really matter because at this point it's a question: can Younghwa be beaten?
That's what everyone's at home. Everyone on that bench, everyone in the studio right now is wondering: can he be beaten? No matter who you send at this guy, he's just too strong. He knows how to make the right decisions at the right moments. You know, the thing about him is, you said earlier, he's got like nothing to lose. I mean, he's already done more than anyone ever imagined that he would. Not only in this match, but in the previous match as well. And so now he's just kind of sitting in the booth like, I've got no nerves. I have nothing to worry about. I guess probably like the next match is going to be the most stressful for him because it's like the one that decides whether he gets the all kill or not, and it's going to be against the toughest player yet. But I mean, he just seems so calm and collected in the booth. No nerves, no shaking, no sweating. He's just sitting in there, just beating him. He's like, bring in the next one. I'll take him out.
And he is one game away from an all-kill, as already mentioned, so he only has to take down the last player for Slayers, which is most likely going to be a Terran player. I would be really surprised if we see anyone else than Ryung right now.
Yeah, it would be really a big surprise. I mean, we might see someone like Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess, but I mean, is he really strong enough to take out the entire LGIM? And he's a Zerg player.
Top right, we have him.
He's got that little Ryung grin. He knows everybody knows him. Ryung, get up, stand up, take your position. He's doing it. He is the last hope for Slayers here. He has to get 4 points in order to take this. He has to beat 4 players, including Younghwa.
He has to defeat 3 GSL champions, most likely.
Yeah, absolutely so.
It's a little bit crazy now. We have a Terran versus Protoss, and if Ryung is beaten, then Slayers will once again be all killed. And this after such a promising first game when Dark defeated MC, but now it's up to Ryung. He has to come through. It's not going to be easy. It's actually, it looks a little bit impossible. The map is going to be Ohana. That's the map that he chose. Then the last 3 that are left are Muspelheim, Grand Lagoon, and Abyssal City. If he's able to take down Younghwa. And that's the one thing that he really wants to accomplish. I guess at this point he's probably not even thinking about winning the match, the entire clan match for his team, but he will probably just think about avoiding an all kill. So guys, we have a 5-minute break coming up before we are heading into the next game. During the break you can also check us out on Twitter. You can add us at ProxyWolf and at Kaldor. We'll be back in 5 with Younghwa against Ryung, and then we'll see if incredible miracles Younghwa is able to put out another all kill. See you in 5.
I don't know if someone else could handle